Space, the final frontier. And these are just a few of the many space games that I have. Let's talk about this one. Hello all, and welcome to another Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. And today, as you can tell from the intro, we're going into space. Yes, a lot of those games on that top shelf. Yes, I reserved the top shelf for space games because those boxes generally are bigger. And those are only a smattering of my space games. If they fit on the smaller shelf, they go there. But yeah, space is a topic that I really like, really enjoy. The 4X type games in space, of which Twilight Imperium, and you saw on the shelf that that was Twilight Imperium 3rd edition. Yes, there is a 4th edition that is the currently supported edition of Twilight Imperium, which I haven't broken down and got that because I have the 3rd edition without any of the expansions. Is that heresy? But I like it. I like 3rd edition. It's interesting. My friendly local gaming store, the proprietor of that, he really likes the 2nd edition better of Twilight Imperium. So there's been several editions, several adaptations of it, and this is the latest and greatest in that Twilight Imperium saga, or is it? This is from Fantasy Flight Games. Game design is James Niffen, and this is a roll and write. This is Twilight Imperium roll and write. How can you do that? Well, we'll take a look inside the box and see what components are used to do that, and maybe talk a little bit about how gameplay is. But this is Twilight Imperium. Yes, the epic. When I say epic, I mean it truly is epic. I think epic is probably the best term to describe Twilight Imperium, at least in its 3rd and 4th iterations. In that it's a game that takes up a lot of table space, takes up a lot of time, and especially the 3rd. I think the 4th edition shortened the time a little bit, but that game or its iterations have been known to take up entire weekends, and it's actually best played with a full complement of players. You really get into a lot of the politicking and different strategies of aggressive or turtling or what have you. And you really get a feel for that with the more players, but with the more players, it takes up even more time. Now, this is a roll and write, so this is not going to have nearly that amount of time or investment, but it's also not going to have a lot of the interaction. I think they're trying to tout this as a little bit of a 4X, but there's really, it's really abstract in the X's here. So anyway, let's take a look at the back of the box here. And as you can see, there's going to be 4 boards. Each player is going to have 4 boards, and you're going to be basically, there's going to be rolling dice to determine what symbols are on it, and then you're going to be marking off stuff on one of these 4 boards. And for each turn, there's going to be really one board is going to be your focus. These boards do different things for whether you're exploring planets or developing your military complex, or doing economy, or the like, or just exploring the universe. So there's a lot of different things that are going on with these boards, and you really can only focus on one in a turn, but they're all interconnected. Stuff that you mark off on one board is going to be a benefit or help you do stuff on another one of the boards. And so there's some interaction here. The combat is really very abstract. It's almost like you're just marking off areas, almost like a kind of a Tetris kind of thing, or almost has a feel of like a tile laying, but you're using it with lines on that board, and you're just competing with your neighbor to the right or to the left, and whoever has the most gets the points. Again, this is a point game. So as we can see here, An epic roll and write. Experience the legendary Twilight Imperium universe in this accessible adaptation for 1 to 8 players. Lead your civilization to greatness as you explore the galaxy, expand your influence, develop your infrastructure, and strike down your rivals. Make your mark on the galaxy. By marking only one sheet at a time, you'll forget the future. You will forge a future as resourceful warmongers or industrious explorers, or will you try to master them all? Witness the forging of an empire. Oversized dice and bright chalk markers bring the galaxy to life on reusable dry erase player sheets. Govern one of 24 interstellar factions. Choose any of the galaxy's great powers, including the cunning Emirates of Hakan, the adventurous Naz Roka Alliance, or the enigmatic Ghost of Croix. So there you have it. So they're actually adding, I think, all the different factions from all the different expansions over time there. So that's kind of interesting. So that gives you a little bit of an overview of how the game is played. Why did I pick this up? I was kind of lukewarm on this. For roll and write games, I usually don't like them as complicated. If I'm going to play something with my family, not that they can't play complicated games, but a roll and write, I don't want it taking up too much time or mental energy to get into. This one looks like it's relatively complex. I mean, just with the variety of boards and symbols and all the different things that you're doing. I just didn't think it'd be that great for my family. Plus, I like Twilight Imperium. It's not something I get to the table very much, and this did not look like Twilight Imperium Light. This looks like a totally different game. This is a roll and write adaptation of that. So why did I pick it up? Well, I picked it up because it was on sale. So this goes into Kilroy's Bargains. I was taking my daughter to, my one daughter had a dance competition in one town, and my other daughter had a swim competition in a town, 40 miles north. And while I was, after I picked up my daughter from the swim competition, or after she competed in the swim competition, we stopped off at this board game cafe, and this was 60% off, so I cannot resist a deal. So at 60% off, I said, what the heck? I can always play it solitaire because it's 1 to 8. So let's get inside the box and see what we have in here. For 60% off, just getting the chalk pins, right? This, I know. Anyway, all right. So this is the box that comes in here. Decent box. Oh, kind of thick. Good thickness there. Here is the rule book. And the rule book is 20 pages, and they've got clarifications on the back there. It is full color. You see all your components here. There's 32 player sheets because, again, there's some variety on those. I think on the flip sides of those, get the rule book and play as you learn guide, faction cards, agenda cards, speaker card, reference cards, dry erase chalk markers, relic cards, objective cards, event cards, black dice, and colored dice. There you go. Here's the setup. And as I said, you're basically playing off these 4 boards here. Here's the Mecatol Rex board. Again, they still have Mecatol Rex, and one of the, I think getting your way to Mecatol Rex is part of the game, or working your way through marking off symbols to get there. Here's how you set up the different decks. Fundamental concepts. You got player sheets, assets. Now we're getting into some of the logos and icons here. Here's resources, which you're rolling on the dice. Here are the different cards, and when you flip those over, they're going to be telling you which resources you automatically get. Then you roll the dice, and you get some extra ones, marking stuff off on the sheets. Here's playing games, playing the game. Here's navigation board. That's where you're going into the greater galaxy. Here's expansion board, where you're taking over planets, marking off stuff on planets. Here's industry. This is kind of your economic. There's a system where you can only mark off stuff that's next to something that has been crossed out. So there's whenever you're trying to mark off more, you have to eliminate some choices or opportunities there. Here's warfare, and this is that where you see that kind of grid where it feels a little bit like a tile game where you're marking off lines here. Those are the different ships that you buy or war, part of your war industry of the different kind of things you can buy, and then you mark them off here, and then whoever has the most stuff area marked off or whatever gets the points. And again, you're comparing yourself to your neighbors in that respect. There's war event cards, and then I think when the third or fourth war event card comes up, that's when the game ends. So it does kind of have a built-in timer, and it's not gonna take 8 to 16 hours like some of the earlier versions did. Production event cards, council event. There is a politics in this and votes, but it's not as the comments that I've heard on this is it's not as interactive as Twilight, 4th or Twilight 3rd in that manner. Some additional rules and winning the game. And basically you're just going to be adding up points. Solo and 2-player rules. And there you have it. So that is the rule booklet. And here is play as you learn. This is a way to set up the game. Now I've heard some comments on this that, you really can't play the game based on this. This just kind of takes you through like, beginning of a turn or something like that, but doesn't really go into depth on all you need to know to play the game. And so the recommendation I've heard from some people is that read the rule book all the way through, and then start working through this. And then once you've gone through this whole round 5 play guide, then start over. Don't pick up from there. Start over and then start playing the game. But anyway, that's just one point of view. Here are the chalk markers. Very key to the game because you're going to have to be marking on your board and erasing. And the comment I got on this is don't use the erasers. Use something else because you're going to destroy the erasers and you end up like you have Cheetos all on your fingers afterwards. Here are the dice. Big, chunky dice. Now those dice are huge. Look at that. Nice, big, good-looking, chunky dice. Like that. That was a good look at that. Of course, it is a rolling, right? So they better have some good rolling, right? Here's some of the cards. We'll take a look at those here. Here are the boards in here. Oh, quite a few of those boards. Let's make sure there's nothing in the corners. Usually there's not. And this is something that I'll probably, since the boards fit in nicely, I'll probably keep the insert here to help keep stuff in place. There's no counters or anything like that. It's just the boards, the dice, the markers, and the cards. So here is a typical board here. This is your expansion board. So you can see there's a lot of icons on there, a lot of stuff that you need to keep track of. And then there's an alternative board on the back for expansion. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you get 8 expansion boards because you can play up to 8 players, and then the back side is a little bit different, okay? Then you've got your industry board. This is where you'll be marking off resources, and also you got votes here as well, and then trade goods. So you got different sides of that. So there's going to be 8 of each of these different types of boards. Then we have navigation. This is when there's your home, and there's Mecatol Rex up there. So you're trying to work your way to there. You get bonus points for that. Okay. So 8 of those. Then you get your warfare board, and these are some of the things. Here's all the different. You can buy infantry, that just takes up 1 pip or 1 dot, and then you got a PDS, a cruiser, dreadnought, and war sun. So you can see here those take up a lot more space. And then these different areas are marks the different wars. So there's I think 4 of them in the game as you go up. But for the first one, you'll be comparing to your neighbor, to your right or to your left, based on these grids here. Again, there's different stuff on the back. There's a different situation or different setup. And these are good thick boards here. These, nice thickness. There's a coating on it so that you can, use your dry erase a little bit easier. So that's very nice there. I mean, you couldn't have enough pads of paper if you wanted to make this right on paper. Plus, I mean, all the colors and everything jumps out a little bit better. Here's your Mecatol Rex board, which is kind of a center board to keep track of different things. And there you have it. That is what you get in a box. Ooh, can't be done yet. Let's look at some of the different cards we get here. You thought I was done, didn't you? Those are the boards you get in the box. I can at least say that. So these are set up in different numbers on the back because you're going to be setting these up for different phases of the game. And this is, you'll not only you're going to roll the dice, but you're going to flip one of these over. This tells you what resources you get and then gives you some information here. Sometimes there's not resources. There's a convene the council, so you just do what's on over here. So there's a lot of variety in these. I mean, I guess you play this game a ton, it'll get a little samey because there's only, how many is there's 1, 2, there's 2 for 5s, 3 for 4s, 3 for 3s, 3 for 2s, and 1, 1, and there's some alternate 5s here. Okay, some alternate ones here. So I don't know the difference between the blue and the black backs. Got to check that out. So you got a little bit of variety there. Let's see what other cards we got here. These are your player references, so it tells you a little bit of what the icons do. Here's your asset reference there. Okay. So you got 8 of those. These are the 24 different factions that you get. And it is asymmetrical, although I don't think they're like necessarily dramatically different. I mean, they're going to change the flavor of how you play, but I've heard some criticism that it's not. There's a few that just really don't do that much, but they're not like breaking the game with their asymmetrical powers. But, that was just one opinion that I heard. I have not had a chance to play this myself because I'm just opening it up right now. So you got all these different factions here from all the different expansions over time. So you can at least probably find your favorite one here. Then there's some flavor text on the back giving you some of the context or background of that faction. So those are the big cards here. And we got the smaller cards. Take a look at those. Got the speaker, and I think that's the person that gets to roll the dice and declare the agenda. Here are, I think these are the these are war cards. I'm not sure what we have here. These are different things you vote on. Let's pull this out for a second here. So you got these are different votes, I guess. Oh, these are relics. So there's different relics in the games that you can get that will change things and give you victory points as well, I believe. So those are some of the relics. Here's some of the council things you vote on here. If it passes, this is what happens. If it doesn't pass, that's what happens. Probably could be more of these. I heard some people saying that you probably need more of these because if you play the game a lot, you're going to see some of the sameness of that come up again. I'm not sure what these are. These look like they're like agendas or something like that. Mark all 10 nodes in a row. So these are, and maybe that's the victory points you get for it. So these look like special agendas or something like that. You'd be a collector, expansion. So this might, depending on what you're going for, this might change your gameplay or what you're trying to focus on. So there you have it. Now I can say that. This is what you get in a box of Twilight Inscription. Get the chunky dice out there. Really nice, big, chunky dice. And then your markers, your rules. And there you have it. that's what you have there. If you've played this, love to know your thoughts on it. Put them down in the comments down below. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Really appreciate it. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.